Welcome guys, welcome again to another episode of a WSXM podcast where a united Africa is an undisputed Africa. So, I did a video around a week to 2 weeks ago about when Zimbabwe released their new currency, the ZIG, the currency backed by the gold. And I posted it and I said it is a waste of paper, and then other people tend to get triggered or they get angry about what I said about, especially on TikTok where I post the video, and they say, I must get more knowledge on Africa and Zimbabwe. I don't know what I'm talking about. It's good what they did, and I think they have maybe missed my point. But let me just elaborate a little bit more. I'll put a link in the description for that video, and then I'm going to elaborate a little bit more on what I meant when I said this new currency by Zimbabwe, the ZIG, is a waste of paper. Their sole purpose of creating this new currency is it's backed by gold. But hear me out. Zimbabwe have gold in reserve, but they don't have a lot of gold in reserve. They have a couple like 200 million or 200 billion or something like that. 200 million. That's not a lot of gold in reserve. And my key point is Zimbabwe has gold mines, but they do not own or control the gold mine. It's controlled by outside forces. They get a percentage of it, but even so, they do not have control of the mine. They only get in a percentage. Like for instance, I'm gonna give you a perfect example. Like Botswana. Botswana have 30% gold. They own 30% of the diamond mine in the country, but they do not have control of the mine. In other words, they get 30% of whatever is produced from the mine. So let's say they find, as an example, 10 million worth of diamond in 1 year, and the cost, it valued at, let's say, 100 million. Botswana will get 30% of that 100 million. But the person who controls the mine can always fudge the numbers. They can say they find 10 million worth of diamond while they find 100 million, but they hide that 90 million and say we only have 10, so they get 30% of this 10. So they do not have control. Same thing in Zimbabwe. Zimbabwe government does not have control of the gold mine. They don't know what the gold mine is putting out. They have no clue, because it's not run or managed by them. It's run by outside, the outsiders. So you cannot get gold from your mine to go directly into the refinery. No, because why? And also, Zimbabwe is not credited to sell gold on the market, because you have to get a stamp, and that stamp is only given out by Europe, by the Europeans. I think it's in England you have to get certified. Don't quote me on that, but you have to be certified to sell gold on the market free. So they have to sell the gold, give the gold to a company, then the company takes it out of Zimbabwe, refine it, and then sell it back to them. That's how it works. So you cannot use gold back currency because you do not have enough gold to keep in reserve to back the currency. And that's not the only issue. You have more import than export. That will always keep your currency undervalued. Why? If you import more goods than you export, that means you have more foreign currency coming in the country than more foreign currency going out. So if you're importing, let's say, 100 million in US dollars annually, but you're only exporting 10 million. You see the big discrepancy? You don't have enough currency, foreign currency, to pay back out for your import, because you're not getting in enough. So you have to take your currency and buy the foreign currency to pay for the foreign goods. So not only that, that's 2. 3, Zimbabwe economy is still 80% run by the US currency. 80% of the people all exchange is still spent by US dollars. So even though they released the new currency, it have not circulated enough, and they have shortages. So they don't have enough to go around to spend. The only way the ZIG will work is something like what Russia did. Whenever time and company come to buy something from Russia, when Russia tell them, we don't want your US dollars, you have to go take your US dollar, change it into our currency, which is the rupees, the rupees, and then we accept that. They do not accept no US dollars or French euro or Europe or European or the euro, not the dollars. You cannot buy anything from them cash with that. You have to go and buy their currency from their bank and then use that money to pay them. So that means their money will always be in demand and circulating in the own economy. I hope you understand what I'm saying. Let me just repeat it. If you want to go to Russia and buy oil from Russia, you cannot use the US dollar to pay for the oil. You cannot use the euro to pay for the oil. You have to go to the Russian bank, buy the rubles, and then use that money to pay them. So the money goes directly into their coffers, then you take their money and give it back to them, basically. So that's what Russia did with all countries who sanctioned them. They don't accept no foreign currency except their own for their oil, their aluminum, their metals, their whatever they are buying. Zimbabwe is not doing that. Zimbabwe economy is still run by 80% of the US. So their own new currency is still not circulating and people are not using it. So what's going to happen? Over time, it will devalue. It is a matter of time. I give it 6 months to get devalue as the last currency, because this is not the first time they do it. You have to address the reasons or the things that causing the currency to devalue. You cannot just change currency and believe because it's in the currency and it's backed by gold, it's going to work. No, you don't have enough gold in reserve to use it to back the currency. You don't. They don't have it. It's not like, for instance, Libya, when Gaddafi was in power and he had almost billions worth of gold in reserve. That's why they fear him so much, because he has the gold to back his currency. Zimbabwe don't, not even close. So your people are not using your own currency. It's not circulating, so that tells you you're going to devalue soon. It started already. And this is just what, not even a month since its release. So that, and they are still, keyword, they are still importing millions and billions of dollars of goods from the US and from Europe. So you need to pay for that import with their currency. So you are importing, let's say, $1 billion of goods in Zimbabwe, while they're only exporting 100 million. So you're short 900 million. Where do you think that US dollar gonna come from? You have to now take your currency, go to the bank, buy the US dollar, which you're gonna devalue your money, because if you want this much from your currency, they can always manipulate your value. So you're gonna have to buy back this to use and pay them back. But if the Zimbabwe government did exactly what Russia did, if you want to buy something from us, you have to change that money into our local currency and then pay us. We will no longer accept the US dollar as, for instance, to buy any of our coffee, let's say our cocoa. Let's say that, because there's an uptick in cocoa price right now. So until they can do that and also fight against corruption, nothing will change. The currency still gonna be, to me, a waste of paper, because it's only gonna be strong for the first 2 weeks to a month, and then after that you're gonna start to slip the guns right back to where it was a couple months ago. That's my purpose of saying the ZIG is a waste of paper. It's a good try, it's a good shot, but it's poorly rolled out. It's poorly no thought was not put into it. It can work if they had put more thought and give it more time instead of just jump the gun and roll it out. They should have waited, iron out all the kinks, make sure they put things in place where you have to use the ZIG. If it was me, I would have make sure no shops, no banks, no government building accept any currency other than our own. That would be the way to go. You have to use my currency in my country. So if tourists came, they have to go and change the currency to Cambio and then use my currency. But if you have them using the US dollars in your country as freely as it's an American country, the value of a cash will devalue. And this is proven even here in the Caribbean, in Jamaica. Our currency has so devalued because we do more export, we do more import than exporting. And we're not manufacturing enough goods to sell on the market. As the other Caribbean countries like that use the East Caribbean country, the East Caribbean currency, which is the EC dollar, it still stays strong for the past 20 years. It's still been the same level. It's like 250 to 1 US. And it's been like that for the past 20 years that I know of, because why? You have multiple countries using that currency. Multiple countries. And they do not import as much as they export. So because there's most of these countries buy from Trinidad, which produce a lot. And so it keeps the currency strong because it's used by more than one country. And that's why, hence the reason it keeps its value. Zimbabwe currency cannot use nowhere else except Zimbabwe. That also under the notch and the belt for sure that it will not work. Africa need one currency. That's the way forward. Former president of Guyana, Patrice Lumumba, he said, one Africa, one currency, one passport. And that's the only way forward. We need to have one currency. We need that. And that is the key for the rise of Africa. One of the key pillars to the Africa being rising to the top. Having one currency where the money can be used in multiple countries. And you have less imports, because Africa produce a lot and we can buy from each other. So we don't need the outside world. And they need us because they have to buy what we have. So if we can export way more than import, voila, our currency is untouchable. Until that can realize and come to fruition, it won't happen. We're going to keep struggling. So anyway, that's my take on that. Let me know what you think about it in the comment section, as always. If you agree, don't agree, hit me up, I'll always respond to you. That's just my reasoning for the currency not doing good, as other people saying, oh, it's not a good idea. You will see. I give it 6 months, mark my word, 6 months. So let's wait and see what's gonna happen. I love Zimbabwe, I love the continent, but this wasn't a good move by them with introducing this new currency. It's just another way to set the country back, even though they are heavily sanctioned, yes, but that's not the reason for the currency to be devalued. Anyway, don't know. Let me know what you think about it. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. Boom.